You guys! You guys! Oh my god! You're not gonna believe this!
Dude, what?
You guys!
They did it! The government has sacked the Prime Minister.
So what you're telling us that the Funai government has fired the Prime Minister? But why?
Apparently our region's president, Loham Had, is a dictator in disguise. Not to mention that I am the Prime Minister's adoptive mother. What's next? Is he gonna sack all of us?
That would be a scary scenario if the president will just leave us all without jobs. Now I fully believe that Funai's government is corrupt according to all of the scandals related to our government posted in Fujitsu Gazette. The Fujitsu nerds have been laughing like hyenas every time our government does something stupid.
Sir, the Prime Minister would like a word with you.
The Prime Minister, Jim, I thought I sacked her an hour ago. What does that Jewish Prime Minister want now?
Do you know how important Prime Ministers are, Loham? You can't just sack a Prime Minister for no reason. Can I just find a new role in the government?
Sure, I can find you a new role in the Funai government.
Wait, really?
No, screw you.
Three WXL8R.
And now it's worse than it was 3 weeks ago. Not only the Funai government rejected my Jewish jewel beetle daughter a role in the Funai government, but we've all been sacked by the president. Not Fujitsu's president, even if he's my adoptive child, but Funai's fat dictator president, who is an accurate representation of the fat controller. I guess it is time to pack our bags and move to Toshiba Caravan Bay and start a new life there, as jobless idiots.
What? We've been sacked. Does that mean we have to move out, or leave the region altogether?
You know what, Robbie? It is probably for the best that we move out of Funai to avoid being tormented and harassed by the Funai president. Maybe we should move in and be neighbors with the Fujitsu president, because 1, the president is my adoptive child, and 2, we can finally move away from the horrid pedophilic Needle who has been terrorizing the Japanese Company Isles in the UK for over 2 years. I now know how he got there in the first place.
So wait. Flora, you've known Paavo Needle for 2 years? And you're fully aware that he's an immigrant from Finland? Tell me about that Needle and how he got into the Japanese Company Isles.
Sure! I can tell you the whole story about that Finnish Needle who has been a creepy, disgusting, and smart pedophile in history, and how he got this short film's creator in hot water because of his actions, and him suffering the consequences of his actions, and dying in prison as a result, but then was resurrected by a literal hand puppet that was sent to the Shadow Realm by a man named Mr. Jack Paul. Okay, now here's that Needle's story in full detail. It was a cold January night in 2024, just after New Year's celebrations were finished. A Finnish Needle was spotted by myself, obviously, arriving on the shore of Funai Land's territories.
Finally, I arrived in Funai. So, what do I do now? My will blend in with the people and try to act that I'm not like a child molester.
At first, people in the Funai region seemed to like him because he was from another country. At the time, people didn't know who that Needle really is as person. But that would all change when the Fujitsu Gazette did some digging in that Needle's history in some archived Finnish newspaper columns that they've painstakingly translated from Finnish to English. Readers of the Fujitsu Gazette were so horrified that Funai just let the worst pedophile into their territories. It was so bad, even the BBC had to make a news article about it. The BBC is the biggest television broadcaster in Britain. And because Fujiland is in the proximity of the UK, they published a news article about how he had groomed a 9-year-old 5 years prior and got away with it. Now the people of Funai realized what they've let into their region uninvited. When people of Funai eventually found out and had read the BBC article, because the Fujitsu Gazette wasn't available in the region, they determined that Needle is no longer welcome and was deported. But the people of Funai, like me, deported him in a place that they hate so much. And it was Fujitsu. Locals, like a Canadian citizen named Mike Pesky, saw what Funai has done and were outraged. Having had enough of the negativity towards him, the Needle wasn't just the Needle. He was going by his real name, which was Paavo Needle, and he enacted a full-scale child grooming scandals across the region. By the next year in 2025, he partnered up with a fire guy named Stephen Carl Hologram, but also known as Steve, He would later break up his relationship with him in April of this year when he realized who he was really aiming for to groom. Steve had a child named Jim, in between which he named after British gaming YouTuber Jim Caddick, also known as Caddicarus, who also voices my British son Squirt in those videos. However, on October 18th, 2025, the consequences of his long-term actions came back to bite him in the ass when he leaked Maggie Pesky's nudes right in front of her and her daughter Maggie Pesky II. This was so disgusting to look at, it caused Maggie to vomit directly on Pavo out of pure disgust. He was later sent to a mental asylum thanks to his actions, which are so messed up. Not even the creator of this short film Scoop Guy 2026 feels comfortable joking about it anymore. But all I can. It's just fucked up in general. However, he would later die in his sleep from a heart attack after having a nightmare. So scary, it gave him a massive heart attack and killed him shortly after. He was buried in the Sony Church's graveyard. Well, a month later in November, he was resurrected by Ubi.
Oh hi there, haven't seen you since December last year. Things have changed a lot since my permanent departure from Black Hole, but canonically shadow relieved by Jack Paul in this universe. The other humanoid insects I've worked with had screen time and character development, and Scoop Guy 2025 and his new name Scoop Guy 2026 had became an uncle. Those other airtimes you'll me. I'm only limited in flashback appearances and nothing else. Anyways, I will now resurrect this Finnish needle back from the dead. Waff 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 waff.
Guess who's back from the dead? Thanks Obi.
Since his resurrection, the things he'd done has gotten worse over time until he was arrested in Alpha Dream Street in Nintendo Shire because of obvious reasons he did. This time, he was placed on death row and was scheduled to be executed on July 24th, 2026, which is today. But never mind, for a while. We're dealing with other problems besides him that are much problematic and has to do with Funai's president. You see, Funai's President Loham Hat has been the subject of controversies and scandals recently due to his mistreatment in the Funai House staff, especially against Thomas the Tank Engine's brother Jim. On that day, he finally had enough of that fat dictator lard.
Oh really? You're gonna sack me for talking back? Well guess what, fat ass? You're nothing but a sad and drunk jerk who hates everything due to your drinking.
What? You're calling me fat and drunk? Now that's an excuse to let the Fujitsu Gazette pick on me for being a fat and drunk fascist dictator.
That's why your wife left you. Your behavior towards her was unacceptable and considered as domestic abuse. So if the readers of the Fujitsu Gazette find out that you've beaten your wife on multiple occasions in your drunken rage, the Funai government will soon enough find out about your abusive relationship with your wife and mistreatment against us. You'll be soon removed from service as president and replace you with a president that is the complete opposite of you.
I'm all out of love. I'm so lost without you. I know you were right, believing for so long.
Any last words?
No. Just kill me. I don't deserve a life anymore due to the shit I've done for many years. Just pull the trigger and end me.
Hey! The rest of us made it, South Park! We're on the other side of this damn thing! And so it's time for adults to screw these masks and party like it's 2021!
Hey, look at Baldry! Nobody's going!
Hey, why aren't you partying like the rest of us over this needle's well-deserved demise?
Well, I'm gonna mess with Finnish Needle. I've been friends with him for nearly a year. I was thinking of dancing on his grave due to the stuff he did, but now I don't feel like dancing. Say, is he actually buried or did he survive the gunshot albeit wounded?
Yeah, Pei of Needle actually survived the gunshot heavily wounded. But don't worry, I put him in a place where something Howie Mandel has kept for 3.5 years. Until now.
So this is it. I survived a gunshot somehow, and what did I get? Purgatory. I mean, what's worse than purgatory?
Nice doing business with you, you little child-murdering pedophiles.